This is Sunrise Extra, streaming live on Wave Now.
Good morning. It's October 3rd, and on October 3rd, he asked me what day it was.
And I said October 3rd.
It's October 3rd. Happy Mean Girls Day, everyone.
It is Mean Girls Day. I feel like I need to rewatch that movie today. I feel like that was just such an iconic part of life for millennials.
Yes, absolutely. And that's why I wear pink on Wednesdays. So, yeah. And you wear purple on Fridays when Lou City and Racing Louisville play this weekend.
Yes, and Lou City plays this weekend against Indy 11. But instead of wearing purple this weekend, they're wearing pink.
Oh, yeah.
So keep that in mind. So even they are getting into it, and also for a really good cause to raise awareness for breast cancer survivors and those going through it right now. So regardless of what you're wearing, we're looking at warm weather. In our forecast right now, we are sitting in the 50s and low 60s, 59 degrees in Bedford, 61 in LaGrange, 63 in Hardinsburg, a little bit warmer for those of you in Litchfield where it's currently 66 degrees. You are our warm spot right now. We do have quite a few clouds overhead anywhere along and north of the parkways getting in on some of these clouds to start off the day. These are mainly mid to upper level clouds. The rainfall off towards our west as of right now has been staying to our west, and fingers and toes crossed that it stays that way. We do need the rainfall, but just not for the morning commute, right? As we continue over the next 12 hours, we will watch for that isolated rain chance, the majority of us staying dry with the mix of sun and clouds as highs return to the 80s, and we'll keep the sunshine, keep the warmth all the way through the weekend. For those of you who are looking at looking for some cooler weather, you'll have to wait until the middle of next week for that to arrive. Rob?
Tawana, thanks so much. Looking for cooler weather, looking for a cool driving experience. You're going to find it this morning at just after 7 o'clock. Things are looking pretty good around the metro. No major accidents or types to tell you about. This is a live look at 264 Bank Street. More taillights out there, certainly, than there were about 20, 30 minutes ago, but otherwise smooth sailing out there. We have your typical construction spots all across the area. You may see slowdowns there, but otherwise, things looking pretty good. We'll keep an eye on it throughout the morning for you. But for now, let's send back over to Olivia.
Thank you, Rob. An intense hours-long standoff in Louisville ends with a man in handcuffs. Robert DeLille is scheduled to be arraigned this morning. We also learned neighbors recorded his arrest. They say this isn't their first time seeing police at his door. Police say this time their visit started after DeLille posted this on Facebook Live.
I'll kill your kids. I'll be at their school. They're dead. How's your kid?
After the post, LMPD showed up to DeLille's house on Lake Elkhorn Court outside of Fern Creek on Wednesday morning. Police say he refused to come out and continued to live stream and even made threats to officers. After an hours-long standoff with the SWAT team, DeLille was eventually arrested. Neighbors say police have been called to his house several times before.
I've seen police outside over a dozen times. On multiple occasions for minor things. I'm surprised it took them this long to get a warrant out for his arrest. It was for, like I said, threats in general, but now that he finally made a real threat towards a school, I guess that's when they finally got the warrant for it.
DeLille is charged with 2 counts of terroristic threatening and 1 count of violating a protective order. LMPD says the case is still being investigated by their Homeland Security unit. DeLille is scheduled to be in court at 9 o'clock this morning. We've learned from PRP firefighters that the cleanup can now safely start after a chemical plant in Rubbertown exploded. The blast happened at Carbide Industries on Bells Lane on Wednesday morning. PRP's fire chief says crews found a fire burning inside and outside a facility building. Firefighters believe it started because a chemical potentially overflowed out from a furnace. No workers were reported hurt, and officials tell us the smaller hotspot fire went out on its own. While cleanup continues, the company says workers will do their regular tasks. 2 people are in the hospital after a fuel leak caught fire in southern Indiana. This happened on East Luther Road yesterday. Floyd's Knobs first responders say 1 victim was burned and rushed to U of L Hospital. The other suffered a separate injury and was taken to a hospital in southern Indiana. Firefighters were able to put that fire out. State arson investigators are looking into what exactly caused that fuel to leak and spark the fire. For the first time since 2 trials in Crystal Rogers' death ended with convictions, we're hearing from the lead detective detective who was there since day one of the investigation. Retired Nelson County Sheriff's Detective John Snow says there are still many unanswered questions about Roger's disappearance. The Bardstown mother was last seen alive in July of 2015. Roger's boyfriend at the time, Brooks Hauk, and two men he hired to help, Stephen and Joseph Lawson, were all convicted on murder-related charges earlier this year. Hauk was sentenced to life in prison. Detective Snow says it was a challenge discovering evidence because Roger's body has never been found.
We can't genuinely, definitively say they killed her by this method or they disposed of her body by this method. And as an investigator, that's a hard question to leave unanswered. Not just from the perspective of your case, but for the family that you're working to help find out what happened to this loved one of theirs. In this particular case, there are lots of unanswered questions that you'd like to see answered. Unfortunately, the only people that can give you those answers are the people who have the least amount to gain by doing so.
Our troubleshooter, Alina Noakes, shared her extended interview with Detective Snow. You can find that and all of our trial coverage on wave3.com. A Metro Councilwoman and multiple families want to raise awareness about what they believe is a ring of criminals working together to commit illegal deed transfers. 89-year-old Dorothy Turpin has owned her home on 26th Street for more than 50 years. But recently, her family found out someone had filed a fake deed claiming Dorothy passed away. Dorothy's family says the scammers then acted like the house was theirs, posting a for sale sign in the front yard and moving all of Dorothy's belongings out of the house. Metro Councilwoman Tammy Hawkins says the person responsible, Russell Cheatham, has turned himself in, but Dorothy's family is prepared for a long battle in court.
All of her valuables, her jewelry, her clothing, her appliances, her furniture, he took it all. That is an empty house. So we also need you charged with that theft, Russell. And I intend to stay on this and follow it all the way to the end of the journey.
A spokesperson for the Jefferson County Clerk's Office told us they recommend all property owners to sign up for Clerk Alert, which is a system that alerts people when records are filed in their name. Cheatham is due back in court October 28th. Louisville taking it a step further to help those in need. The Metro Homeless Engagement and Assessment Response Team, or HART program for short, is taking a deeper dive into the homeless problem. Formerly known as the Homeless Services Division, HART represents a more inclusive approach to addressing homelessness. Wave News reporter Rob Wells is here with the details. Rob.
Yeah, Olivia, good morning. That plan includes building trust and connecting individuals with services like shelter, ID assistance, healthcare, even recovery programs. It also focuses on assessment and response, evaluating encampments for safety risks, and then working with partners to keep Louisville streets for everybody who lives here. Those behind the services say that the rebranding that they just started matters because the word homeless often evokes a one-sided response that really doesn't tell the full story of a person's condition. HART team members tell me that anybody struggling deserves dignity and their support. The executive director says that the HART program reflects Louisville's dual mission, ensuring safe, healthy streets while helping individuals in crisis.
Our goal is to go where someone is, right? We want to meet them on the streets. Our outreach team consists of 9 individuals that are out Monday through Friday between 8 and 6. And then on Saturdays, they're working around 8 to 1. They're going to where somebody is, right? We know it's harder for someone to come to us, so we're going to where you are. We're going to help you get your ID, your birth certificate. We're going to help you get you on the common assessment list so that we can work towards your housing.
It's very comprehensive indeed. Now, the program includes outreach assessment services and safety, not just clearing those camps up that you see around the city. The work includes getting those at risk in for both medical and then mental treatments and to help empower them to become even more independent down the road. He adds that if you see somebody in need or if you have concerns about individuals on the street, just call 311 to connect them with the HART team for a helping hand. Olivia, let's send it back over to you.
Rob, thank you. This weekend, Harvest Homecoming festivities kick off in New Albany. The Harvest Homecoming Parade will march through New Albany tomorrow. It kicks off at 3 o'clock from New Albany High School. It'll go down Vincennes Street, then take a right on Spring Street and ends on Bank Street. Harvest Homecoming has made some changes after a deadly shooting there last year. 18-year-old Bryce Gerlach was killed and 2 others were hurt. Police say the victims were all innocent bystanders after a fight broke out nearby. This year, there will be revised festival hours, new security fencing, better lighting, and police presence, plus a new police security camera system. One other big change this year, there will be no amusement rides at the festival. There will still be other fun events, though, like a balloon glow, costume contest, farmers market, and more. Booth days return Thursday, October 9th. They'll go through October 12th. And coming up in about 20 minutes, we'll talk to some of the organizers of Harvest Homecoming to talk about what you can look forward to this year. U.S. lawmakers are expected to vote on a spending package that could end the government shutdown. We'll tell you what local lawmakers have to say about today's vote. Oh, haunted house fans won't have to travel far to get a good scare this year after a Louisville attraction earned a nationwide award. The Devil's Attic has been recognized as a top haunt, meaning it's one of the best run haunted houses in the country. It's an award given by the Haunted Attraction Association. They're one of 67 haunted houses nationwide that earn the recognition. The Devil's Attic is located in the edge of the Park Hill neighborhood. It features classic horror movie characters and monsters in one interactive space. They're open on Fridays and Saturdays from 8 p.m. until midnight now through November 1st. And Tawana, I have to say, I am not a haunted house fan because it's easy to scare me when you're jumping out from behind a wall or something. But what about you?
I am not always a haunted house girly. However, some really good friends and we all go every year to a haunted house. I'm usually the person that they push in front of everyone else. So we'll see what happens this year. I've been pretty good lately. So we'll see how it goes. Looking outside on our SkyTrack camera in New Albany, this is the beginnings of that sunrise. Another gorgeous start to the day. Absolutely beautiful out there. Your temperatures are in the upper 50s and low 60s right now. We are keeping an eye on, some of these clouds overhead. And it does look like some of those showers off towards our west are trying to stretch towards portions of Breckenridge and Grayson counties. So we're still going to keep an eye on that potential for an isolated shower for those of you in those spots. The rest of us just sunny and dry to start off the day. But notice we see that extra stretch of moisture in the form of clouds from Cincinnati to Paducah, and that does go back towards St. Louis as well. So some of that moisture trying to come our way for today, and that is why we have the isolated rain chance in our forecast. But most of us just going to see a mix of sun and clouds for your Friday as highs return to the 80s. We'll just keep an eye on the radar, right? Now for tomorrow, plenty of sunshine around, highs back into those mid 80s. So not a lot of change there. Just going to be looking at some slightly lower humidity across the region, but still pretty warm as you're heading to the U of L game. They're going to take on UVA. Temperatures will gradually warm into the 80s and through the 80s as you go from tailgating into the game itself. And then for those of you maybe checking out Lou City later on in the evening, They're going to be taking on Indy 11. We'll watch temperatures initially in the low 80s for that, and then things will cool off into the 60s by the time everything wraps up. And we know, hey, we're taking on a rival, so it's going to be a good game. On Sunday, things will be quiet and sunny yet again. And of course, there's even more happening this weekend. Bowman Fest is Saturday and Sunday, going to be in the 80s for both days for that. So if you're heading out to Bowman Field, it's going to be a good time there. Good drinks, good food, good, really cool planes, everything for you to enjoy. Now, on Monday, clouds increase out ahead of a system that will bring us some rainfall as early as Monday evening. More of those showers and thunderstorms taking over throughout your Tuesday. And then finally, once we get into Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning, the current trend is to dry us out then as cooler air settles in. So we're still going to watch that Wednesday rain chance. Don't be surprised if Wednesday's rain chance goes down and Monday's goes up, depending on the speed and the timing of this system. But regardless of how and when that rain moves in, things do look cooler for the end of next week, with highs in the upper 60s and low 70s for your Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Another system could try to bring us some showers towards next Saturday, and that is something we'll keep a very close eye on. Olivia?
Looking forward to those 70s, though. Thanks, Tawana. Today, U.S. lawmakers are expected to take more votes on a spending package that could end a government shutdown. The vote in the Senate will specifically be on a Republican-backed plan, which previously passed the House. Democrats are holding firm on their health care funding demands, though. They want Medicaid cuts rolled back and Obamacare subsidies extended. Democrats say without those protections, the price of health insurance premiums could spike for millions of Americans. Republicans have pushed for a short-term bill to reopen the government and said debates over health care could happen later in the year.
We are willing, we are able to sit down with anyone, anytime, any place, including the president and the vice president. Unfortunately, Republicans have shown zero interest in even having a conversation.
I think they're going to have to make decisions about how we're going to manage the shutdown. I think that is the game the Democrats are playing. They have handed the president and his team the keys. I think this is what you get when you make this bet.
President Trump has threatened to fire federal workers as the government shutdown continues. The White House press secretary said layoffs are imminent and put pressure on Democrats to make a deal. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear says the president should not be using mass firings as a negotiation tactic.
You can't negotiate through blackmail. And that's what's happening right now. If you don't vote the way I want you to vote, is what the president is saying, then he's going to cancel $18 billion in projects that are already ongoing.
Republicans need 8 Democrats on their side to reach the 60-vote threshold to pass the funding bill. Senate Majority Leader John Thune says if the measure fails, he'll give lawmakers the weekend and won't call votes again until Monday. Hundreds of federal officers have traveled to Memphis and they're making arrests. Federal and state officials have joined forces for what's called the Memphis Safe Task Force. They've set up a hub where dozens of officers and agents were dispatched to the streets. The Trump administration officials visited the city on Wednesday. Meanwhile, 200 troops are training at a camp in Oregon, preparing to enter Portland. Oregon Senator Jeff Merkley says troops are being trained on things like crowd control and the rules of use of force. The Food and Drug Administration approved a generic form of the abortion pill mifepristone just before the government shutdown. Avita Solutions made the announcement on its website, confirming the FDA had signed off on its generic form of the pill, which is approved to end pregnancies through 10 weeks. The FDA often issues a press release after a new or significant drug approval, but it did not in this case. Still ahead here on Sunrise Extra, the St. James Court Art Fair kicks off today. Details about one of the nation's oldest art shows, that's coming up next. St. James Court Art Show begins today for its 69th year. Every year, one of the nation's best art shows attracts thousands of people to Old Louisville. More than 600 artists representing 17 different mediums will be showcasing their work this weekend. There will also be plenty of food and drinks. The three-day event is free to attend, but trust me, you will be spending plenty of money out there as you get out there and enjoy it and see so many great things. Well, thousands lined up at stores across the country to enjoy Taylor Swift's new album. It's called The Life of a Showgirl, and it dropped at midnight on all streaming platforms. Fans have described the album as up-tempo pop with songs titled Eldest Daughter and Canceled. This is Swift's 12th original studio album and her first since she became the owner of her entire music catalog. The album will be sold on vinyl, CD, and cassette. We'll be right back with more Sunrise Extra right after this.
This Wave News update is sponsored by Oxmoor Auto Group.
Good morning. I'm Shannon Kogan. A man who police say used Facebook Live to make threats to kill children is due in court this morning. Robert DeLille is charged with terroristic threatening. This is some of that video that he put on Facebook Live. LMPD then went to his house on Lake Elkhorn Court after he posted that video. Police say he refused to come out and then continued the live stream and made threats to the officers. After an 8 hours long standoff with the SWAT team, he was arrested. He is scheduled to be in court this morning at 9. All right, you made it to Friday, first weekend in October. How's the weather?
Not looking like October weather at all as we head into this weekend. Right now, we are seeing some clouds overhead, though, on our SkyTrack camera in Bardstown, making for a pretty cool sunrise on that shot. A lot of these clouds will continue to drift through as the morning goes along. As of right now, the majority of any rainfall staying just outside of our region. A couple of sprinkles have tried to make their way into Breckinridge County, but most of us just staying dry to start off the day. We will watch, though, for a couple of isolated showers here and there as the day goes along. Your temperatures right now are in the 50s and low 60s. We'll climb back into the 80s for your highs this afternoon. So a nice warm up coming our way. But remember, even though we have that isolated rain chance, most of us staying dry. The weekend, as I mentioned, not looking October-like, talking about mid to upper 80s for highs for Saturday and Sunday. And then we'll see some cooler and wet weather returning next week. Rob.
Tawana, thanks so much. As we wait on those fall temperatures, we have a great morning for you ahead on the roadways. We're looking at no problems or tie-ups along the metro area. We have one area of construction there, as we always do. These projects have been ongoing. You're used to them by now. But otherwise, if you're heading out to work or school this morning, no problems to tell you about. We'll keep an eye on things throughout the morning. But for now, let's send it back to the Today Show in New York.
Oh, today is a big day in Southern Indiana. It is the start of Harvest Homecoming. Such a big deal. So I'm joined by Glenn and Allison. Thank you all so much for joining us this morning. You all are busy for the next week or so.
Yes, very busy.
Okay, let's talk about what is happening today because you all kick it off with a parade, right?
Yes, the parade is tomorrow. So today is a lot of prep work for that event. We have to go pick up all of our signage, get that delivered, mark our streets for the parade. We have about 100 participants for tomorrow's parade. So a lot of the logistical things will be done today for that preparation.
And so how big is this parade? I mean, just watching that video there, it looks like the streets are lined. I'm sure you get a great crowd.
Yes, weather is big for us. So as
Mhm.
long as it's a great weather day, which tomorrow will be, we should see several thousands of people. The parade itself is 100 units, but within that, one unit might be a car club that's 20 cars. So kids and families will get to see a lot of exciting things. They get candy. That's a big deal for them. Candy will be passed out. So if you're coming, bring a bag because you'll get quite a bit. But yeah, it draws a big crowd. It's very exciting for all of us.
So Harvest Homecoming lasts 8 days.
Yep.
That's a lot that you all have packed in there. What else can people experience there?
Pumpkin decorating is on Sunday.
Yep.
Alice was also in charge of that. Multiple categories, everything from children to adults.
Yep. We also allow school groups, family groups. They can come. You're going to bring your pre-decorated parade, so we won't actually have any arts and crafts type things there. And it's really cool to see how people take our theme of the year, which this year is Heart of Harvest, and they turn that into a pumpkin. So it's great to see people's adaptation of what our vision is.
What's it like to bring so many people out to Southern Indiana? I mean, it's not just people who live there who come out, but you're bringing together the entire community. I know people are crossing the bridge to head over there. This has got to be a great feeling to get everyone together.
It is. It's a really good feeling to see everybody come together, kind of for one thing. And you see people get together that haven't seen each other in years, or maybe they come back every year as part of like a class reunion. It's kind of odd to hear people go, oh, we have our class reunion and we make Harvest Homecoming part of it.
Right.
And it's, really neat. It kind of does bring everybody back to home, so to speak.
We hear a lot where people are like, oh, we were just driving through and saw it and stopped, and now we come every year. We actually had some gentlemen that used to come up every year for the parade, and they would enter their Volkswagen bus, like the old ones.
Ooh.
And they would throw beads out, and the crowd loved them. And they were actually from Florida. So they came one weekend to see family, saw the parade, and then we're like, we have to be a part of it.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I love that. And it's not just humans who head out there. We have a dog costume contest.
Yes.
Crossing our fingers that that'll work out too. Tell us about that.
So the dog show is Tuesday night, and we have several categories for that as well. Like you said, we do have a costume contest. We have a pet.
Oh, and a cat too. Cats can be.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm a
Yep.
cat lady. So,
Yeah.
sorry, dogs, but I'm hearing that cats can be part of this too. I'm like, yes, let's go.
Yes, and it's always very entertaining. My Great Dane has been in the show before, so it's great to see. Right there, you have Snow White, a big dog dressed as Snow White. You never see that. We have Face Only Your Mother Could Love that kids can participate in. There's Waggiest Tail, Best Trick. There's a look-alike to see if you look like your pet.
Oh.
Yes. And that one's a very entertaining one because kids can enter them. Only kids. There's not adults entering them. So you get the dynamic of the dog and the kid. You don't totally know what you're going to get on stage.
I'm sure they get a lot of similar personalities up
Yes.
there too, a lot of
Yes.
energy. So how can people enter their dogs in this?
So that night when you come, you just register the night of that event.
Okay.
And you get to pick 3 categories to enter your pet into.
Okay, and we are crossing our fingers for good weather for
Yes.
this, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So-
Because we do not have an indoor place to do pets. So it has to be outdoors. So if it rains, it'll have to be canceled.
Yeah.
unfortunately.
But again, fingers crossed. We don't want any
Yes.
wet dogs running around. I don't.
Correct.
That might make a bit of a mess.
Yep.
Yeah. So
it's an interesting one. We have a category for non-dogs. So one year we had a snake entered. So
ooh,
if you have a safe animal that you want to bring out, you can.
there you go. And speaking of messes, though, pumpkin chucking. Watching this video is awesome.
Yes.
It's just like it says, pumpkin chucking, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That seems like to me the most fascinating and unique thing about this.
It's a crazy event that Purdue hosts, and we get to be a small part of that one.
Yes.
That one, I think, actually this year is happening after our main 8 days.
Yes.
But it's exciting to see the different schools and groups that participate in that and watching them launch those things.
They
We have a
fly.
high school category. So
Yep.
it's only high schoolers that compete
Mhm.
against each other. And then we have professionals, which
Yep.
are the adults that compete in it. But yeah, it's a really good event. Lots of fun to see people try to throw a pumpkin and not at a target.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And okay, one of the big changes this year, no rides there. What went into that decision?
A lot.
Yeah.
I'll speak on that because we put a lot. There was a lot of hours spent. A lot of people went into that. it come down to money, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Financially, we couldn't do it and make it at a reasonable price for a person to get a ride.
Yeah.
It just could not happen this year. We're hoping to find a sponsor to maybe bring it back with some sponsorship money. You know, we don't mind to spend some money on it, but we were talking thousands of dollars to make it happen.
Yeah. Sounds like you put your money in other places
Correct.
too, and
Yeah.
we're able to do that. And then one of the other changes or adjustments you all had to make, of course, we have to mention the violence that happened, the tragedy that happened there last year. What can you tell people so they feel safe coming to this? I mean, this has got to be a family event that people need to feel safe at.
So the city police and the county police have really got together. They have really stepped up. They've done a lot of stuff that I won't say any more, but they've more communication. You know, we have a central command. We've always had a central command, but it is a true central command. We've got a new police department. They're going to be there. You'll see a lot more officers in uniform that'll be present, a lot more visible, that type of thing.
Definitely want to focus on safety there
Yeah.
too. I mean, you've got to be safe to have fun too.
Right.
So anything else that we've missed that you all really want to mention that is included in Harvest Homecoming that people can look forward to?
I think the best resource we have is our website and of course our Facebook page. You can see all of the free family events and kids events that we have. I know the rides is a bummer, but we do have a tractor pull. We have a kids costume contest. We have a baby crawl. We have a four-wheeling race. Like there's a lot of other
Big wheel
events
race.
of big wheel, not four-wheeling things. Big wheel
Big
race.
wheel. Yeah.
So
You're
there's a
killing
lot
us.
of things to help, supplement that.
Yeah.
It seems like you all have really packed in a lot of different fall-like celebrations for Harvest Homecoming. That's
Yep.
perfect.
Yeah. And of course, then we have our booth days.
Yep.
We'll start
Yeah.
Next Thursday at noon. That's a big event. Everybody knows about that, but we do have a lot. Saturday morning is kids morning from 8. We stay 8 or 9.
8 o'clock it starts with the baby crawl.
Yeah. Through 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yep.
So
So all those kids events happen at our stage, and then we have our kids day in the park at Bicentennial Park. So it's almost like a mini version of Harvest Homecoming for the kids.
Oh,
yeah.
that's
And,
cute.
and all of that is free.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us this morning. I keep saying they have such a busy 8-day stretch here, so they woke up early to be part of this. And I mean, people love Harvest Homecoming, so that's why we've got to talk about it.
For sure.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back in 2 minutes with more Sunrise Extra. Some newly filed court records show former Scott County Sheriff Kenneth Eubanks plans to plead guilty to tax evasion. He was arrested earlier this year as part of the fallout of the sweeping public corruption investigation into ex-Clark County Sheriff Jamie Knoll. Eubanks' tax evasion charge stems from his failure to report $145,000 in income from selling items. The bulk of the charge came from $123,000 paid to himself and his wife from his godmother's bank account, who suffers from dementia. Eubanks worked for Knoll at the Clark County Sheriff's Office before becoming the Scott County Sheriff. The Indiana State Board of Accounts dug into his records after flagging payments that Knoll made to a company Eubanks owned from the Clark County Jail's commissary fund. The audit says invoices lack details or proof of work. A court date has not been set for Eubanks to change his plea, though. He faces a maximum of 2.5 years in prison. Once Eubanks finishes his case, the last remaining person charged as a result of the Jamie Knoll investigation is former Clark County Councilmember John Miller. He lost an appeal challenging the case against him. He's supposed to go to trial at the end of this month. Dare to Care says food insecurity has skyrocketed in Kentucky and southern Indiana over the past 2 years. They now worry a government shutdown will only make things worse. Staff says more than 186,000 people are experiencing food insecurity in the 13 counties serviced by Dare to Care. The food bank says the biggest concern is that a prolonged government shutdown could cause delays in programs like TFAP and SNAP. Because of that, Dare to Care is preparing for longer lines, first-time visitors, and just overall more people looking to the food bank to make ends meet.
We want to be able to serve everyone who comes through our doors because everyone deserves food. And Dare to Care started because a little boy passed away of malnutrition. So we don't want to see that happen in our community.
U.S. lawmakers are expected to make another round of votes on a spending package that could fund the government today. If you or someone you know is facing food insecurity, you can find details on how to get help with this story on wave3.com. UK's campus police improving campus safety with a new addition to their headquarters. They showed off their new Security Operations Center and new safety technology. The center will now be a hub for monitoring, coordinating, and managing safety and security options all across the campus.
Technology is the wave of the future when it comes to law enforcement. Everything from our drones that are able to respond remotely to our body cams that are now pushing live video.
The new Security Operations Center will be staffed 24/7. Officers will respond to emergency calls and monitor the campus camera systems for any incidents. Longtime Jefferson County Sheriff John Aubrey has been laid to rest. Sheriff Aubrey passed away at the age of 86 on September 23rd. His funeral was held at Southeast Christian Church yesterday. He was first elected in 1998 and served 7 terms. Aubrey also spent 32 years as a member of the Army Reserve. His final resting place is at St. Michael's Cemetery. A viral video online is highlighting one of the experiences at Louisville's Roots 101 Museum. The video shows a woman with slave shackles put on her. It's been viewed more than 20 million times across the Roots 101 social media pages. Putting slave shackles on museum visitors has been part of the experience since it opened 6 years ago. The CEO and founder of Roots 101, Lamont Collins, says he uses the shackles as a tool to teach people about the past.
It's connecting about like 3 slaves to one chain, one direction, one ankle, one ankle, one ankle. So it would be a connector. Can you imagine even the idea of being connected? This is a cow belt that went around the neck. So when you moved, they knew where you were.
Just chilling there to think about. Collins says he measures the success of the museum not by the number of visitors or views on social media, but how it's growing and educating the community. The iHeartMedia Louisville Wine on the River event is back for its 6th annual year. Tickets are on sale right now for the event. It's scheduled for October 11th on the Belvedere. It'll feature live music throughout the evening with live performances by Radiotronic. Along with the music, you can expect food trucks from area restaurants across our area. Now, this is an adults-only event, so you have to be 21 to be part of it. Proceeds will go to the Boys and Girls Club of Kentuckiana. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with plenty of sports headlines coming up in just 2 minutes. Turning now to your weekend sports, the U of L men's soccer team is in action this weekend. They're hosting ACC rival North Carolina at 6 o'clock right here in Wave Country. After starting the season with 5 straight wins, the Cards now find themselves winless in their last 4 games. They're looking to bounce back from their home loss to 16th-ranked Duke last week. Tonight will even be senior night with 5 seniors recognized at the game, and it won't be an easy one for those seniors as North Carolina comes into the game riding a 5-game unbeaten streak. So if you can't go support the Cards in person, you can still catch it on the ACC Network Plus. Along with the men's team, the 23rd ranked Louisville women's soccer team is in action today in the top 25 matchup. They travel to South Bend, Indiana to take on the second-ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Today's matchup has 2 of the best offenses in the ACC squaring off against each other. Louisville leads the nation in assists and points and is second nationally in goals. The Cards are taking a 3-game winning streak into the match, and it'll be their first match in over a week. The last time out was on September 25th as the Cardinals beat Miami, winning their 10th game of the season, the first time in double digits since 2019. Already a great season. So big game today as they keep that momentum going. Kickoff is at 6 o'clock. That will be streamed on the ACC Network Plus as well. Horse racing fans can expect to find some new features at Keeneland this fall, and today is the first day of the fall meet. The track just completed a $93 million renovation project, and that includes a new paddock. Track leaders say some parts of the old paddock was somewhat hidden. Now fans can really see every step of race prep as the jockeys mount the horses and get them out to the track. There's also a new stakes winner's circle. Before it was far away from fans on the track, but now it's immersed in the crowd. Keeneland is also ready to host the tailgating fans outside of the track on the hill.
You can tailgate. We have a jumbo screen TV. Wagering is available, food trucks, live music.
Keeneland says they're expecting big crowds. The meet kicks off today with at 1 and it runs until October 25th. And if you've never been to Keeneland, I highly recommend heading out there. Really cool. Well, our ladies in lavender are on the road and set to take on North Carolina tomorrow. They sit in 8th place with just 8 teams making it into the playoffs, so they are right there on the edge. And this one will be a huge one in the push for the playoffs because North Carolina sits behind them in 9th place. They are just 1 point behind Racing, so this game really matters for them. And it won't be an easy one as Racing will be going up against a North Carolina team who is undefeated in their last 8 home matches. Kickoff for that is set for 7:30. Good luck to them. Hope Scarves is a global nonprofit organization that provides headscarves for cancer patients. Lou City players spent the day packaging scarves to be delivered to cancer patients in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. The scarves are packaged with the story of a cancer survivor, offering hope and encouragement. Founded in 2012, the organization is based right here in Louisville. The event is part of Lou City's Pink Night. That's a partnership with U of L Health to raise breast cancer awareness and recognize members of the community impacted by the disease. Players say it was an honor to be able to do something so meaningful, and at the event, it really puts life into perspective.
These people are going through some really tough things, and their families are too. So it is really hard for us reading the messages and stories of some of the people, and yeah, it does give us a lot of perspective about what's going on in the real world out there.
But to come to a club that from the start emphasized getting out in the community, we're around here, we send our kids to schools here, we shop here, we live here. If we're not out and about in the community contributing or giving something back, for me, it doesn't make any sense.
Amazing to see them giving back there, and an amazing project that they're working on. And you have the chance to show your support as well, because if you buy a pink jersey that the team will wear tomorrow, the proceeds will benefit U of L Health's Brown Cancer Center. Tomorrow's game kicks off at 7:30. Well, here's something really fun and just heartwarming. A local woman took the bar exam after attending U of L Law School, and she sat down with her family to find out if she passed it. Just take a look at this video. just so sweet. That reaction from Kylie Minish holding her 1-year-old son, Mason, even got the attention of People magazine. They reached out to her and asked her some questions, and she's already practicing law at a firm here in Louisville. A huge congratulations to her. Oh, sweet Mason doesn't really know it, but his mom just did something truly amazing. A big congratulations to her to do law school with a baby and then to take the bar exam with a baby. It just, wow, very impressive stuff. And congratulations to everyone who passed. Well, that's all the time we have here for Wave Sunrise Extra. Happy Friday. Hope you get out, enjoy this beautiful weather. Go out to the St. James Court Arts Show. U of L playing at home on Saturday. So many great things to do outside. So get out there and enjoy it. I hope you have a great weekend.